I don't care anymore. Welcome. I'm gonna tell you guys how exactly I moved to Los Angeles at 18 and how I did it on my own with no financial help from my parents. And I made the drive and moved myself here alone. Like, I didn't have a parent drive with me, nobody met up with me here. I did everything on my own. And I say this not to like toot my own horn or like,
oh, woe is me, like my parents didn't help me.
They're supportive and things like that, but we just weren't in a place where either of them could come with me, and that's okay. But the reason I want to tell you guys this is because if you're in a similar situation where your parents aren't able to financially support you or anything like that, you can still make this happen for yourself, even if you're young and even if your family doesn't help you, it's possible. And so I just want to share my journey with you just to inspire you and to maybe give you some ideas. That I knew all through high school that my family wasn't wealthy and so I knew that when it came time to go to college, I needed to have good grades because I needed a good scholarship. Always knew I wanted to go to college outside of Michigan. I wasn't 100% set on California by school, and so going into it, dude, went into high school with the goal to get a 4.0, which I did. I graduated with like a 4.0, gave a speech at graduation, whole shebang. Every great speech starts with a quote. So here's a quote by me, Sophie Collins. I began applying to colleges and I only applied to 3 because I didn't want to overwhelm myself. Estimated family contribution was 0. Like, my family had such a small amount of money that the state didn't expect them to contribute anything. I got the maximum amount from FAFSA and of state aid, so I could have gone to school in Michigan for free because of the Michigan aid, but I knew I didn't want to go to school in Michigan. I wanted to go to school in California, and so things are more expensive going to school out of state. Settled on Vanguard University in Costa Mesa, California, because they gave me a $25,000 scholarship, which is the highest scholarship that they give out. And then on top of that, I also had like $7,000 or $8,000 in like federal aid. And then oh my gosh. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Why are there so many people putting stuff on my car? California is weird. I've told you guys before. And basically I was going to have to take out a couple $1,000s in student loans, and I was also gonna have to pay a couple $1,000s out of pocket to attend this college. And I didn't even really want to go to college that much. I just knew I wanted to move to California, but I wasn't entirely sure just like how to move to California. I was 18. After a lot of like prayer and just thinking things through, I decided I was going to go to college because from my calculations, it was going to be a cheaper monthly payment to go to college than it would have been for me to like move and do rent and all that stuff. I could not have afforded that at 18. I would have had to stay home and save up more money, and I really just wanted to get to California. And so honestly, in my head, I was going to college and using those student loans as an investment, not really because of college, but simply to get me to California. And I don't think I ever like verbally said this to anybody, but I know that I knew that. Like, I never had the full intention of finishing college going into it. Mostly the only reason I went is because it was the simplest way to get me to California at that time. So it was during COVID. This was fall of 2020. So all of our classes were going to be completely online, but I would be living in the dorms. So I was like, perfect, all my classes online. That means I can go on auditions. Second, I'll be living in the dorms. That means I'll be living in California as opposed to Michigan. Third, I drove myself from Michigan to California, so that way I would have my car and could go on auditions. That was how I first managed to afford to go to California, was by going to college there. And the reason I was able to financially make that move on my own with no help from my parents was student loan. I try to live with no regrets, number one, but number two, this brings me into my next thing. So kind of the fall, I've talked about this before, but I went on like a lot of dinky auditions, did little dinky indie film. I also had a part-time job at Target. So I was doing my online classes. I had a part-time job at Target, and I was still auditioning and doing the whole acting thing as well. I really don't know how I did it. I actually have videos from both when I moved and then also when my life was this crazy, so I will link them below if you're interested. I do know how I did it because my mental health went down the drain and I had no social life, but Not saying they don't help out at all. Like, my parents would give me a couple $100s for books at first or anything like that, but my family wasn't like how a lot of families have like a college savings for them and like, oh, we can give you $10,000 toward college. It was nothing like that. It was all on me. I had no college savings, none of that. I love my family. They're very supportive of what I do. They're just not able to financially support me. On Backstage, one of the actor sites, if you're not familiar, apply for acting jobs. And one day I saw a job for a full-time or almost full-time production assistant position for a big YouTuber with 17 million subscribers. He makes children's content videos. And I saw that posting on Backstage and I was like, might as well. And maybe a month later, I did a virtual interview, started me off on a 3-month trial that I started in February of 2020. Then they eventually hired me full on, and I still continue to work there today. And I bring this up because it is because of that job, this flexible day job that's still creative and fun, and I have amazing coworkers. They always let me leave for auditions. They let me leave for gigs. They're super duper supportive. But it is because of that job that I felt comfortable enough to leave school and stay in California. Because had I not gotten this job, I don't think working at Target I would have had enough money to even stay in California for the summer. I think I very much may have had to take the normal route of like moving home for summer or whatever to like save up money like a lot of kids do. But because I took out those student loans in the fall and moved to California is the reason that I was on Backstage and saw this full-time job that allowed me to continue to stay in California. And I've just always known that once I moved here, I wasn't going back. I just didn't know how everything was going to play out. And it's so weird that it did work out. Like, everything just worked out. The little plan that I had in my head to not continue college, but only take the opportunity to go to college simply to move to California, like that just worked out. I didn't know how it was going to work out, but I knew that it would, and it did. And it's crazy to like look back on that. In my head, hopefully I move out there, get a big audition, and can like drop out of school my freshman year. I think that was kind of my hope. I was like, well, hopefully I just become a superstar. I love my day job. I love that I'm out here auditioning and growing in my craft. I love that I am improving and getting closer to my ultimate goals every single day. And I love that I am on this journey and I'm finding beauty in this journey of being an actor and knowing that I have a lot further to go, but I'm enjoying the process every step of the way. The job that I have, it's not like I'm making bank out here. It covers my basic needs, and then I make a little bit of money from acting and modeling also, and that is really how I afford to live out here. And I'm also really glad that I did experience college and living in the dorms and things like that, because I think all life experience benefits you in some way, and especially as actors, the best way to become a better actor is really just through experiencing life. And so moved myself out of college into my current apartment again, all by myself. I took a lot of trips. Granted, I didn't have a ton of stuff because I was living in the dorms, but that was another thing I did by myself. So it is possible. You have to be creative with your plan and really evaluate where you're at in life and where you want to go and come up with a realistic plan for you. Yeah, but I've never heard of somebody with quite the same journey. I hope that maybe for some of you who aren't in a super comfortable place financially, if you're younger, anything like that, I hope this can offer you some insight and some inspiration. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.